Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Easy Does It, a podcast created specifically for the amazing members of the MJ team. Rob and I are excited to be back with you. We have a great episode for you today. It's another guest host episode. So we're pumped about having someone else on the team. Rob's giving me signals I'm doing something wrong
She's
with my
getting
microphone.
crazy. You're side talking. You're side talking.
Okay. Sorry. Didn't mean to get us off track already. I must be really excited about today's episode,
It's going to
apparently.
be a great episode.
It is. So we're excited to have our guest host with us today, someone else from the team to bring some more good stuff to you. But as we always do, we're going to start off with goodness knows what Rob has pulled off the internets.
Yes. It's question number 240 of Would You Rather. Would you rather? Here we go, Cole. By the way, we have Cole.
I guess I should.
We have Cole G Money Greene with us today.
We probably should introduce him before we make him.
What is your middle name?
We will not disclose that.
It's not G Money?
It's not G Money, but it can be.
Okay. We got
For
it.
today it is.
For today, it is.
All right, G Money. Would you rather only to be able to listen to Christmas songs all year round or only be able to watch nothing but horror movies?
I'm going to go horror movies.
Really?
You would
Yeah.
rather watch horror movies?
Yeah, than to listen to the same old Christmas songs over and over and over.
My wife knows that the last thing I want to do is listen to Christmas songs. I can't do it. I just can't. I love Christmas time, but as soon as the songs start coming on, they're all singing in the car, and I'm like a dog with my head out the window, like, please get me out of here. I'm the Grinch when it comes to Christmas songs.
I knew this about you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't like horror movies, so that one is absolutely out for me. But what I do love is Christmas music. So this is a no-brainer for me. Bring on Mariah Carey and Pentatonics and Michael Bublé.
Pentatonics. I forgot about them.
Don't you dare.
Is it pentatonics or pentonics? Pentatonics? Why are you looking at me like that?
I don't know. Now you're making me question whether I know how to say it right.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm going to look it up. Here in a minute when I'm not talking, I'm looking it up.
Have you heard pentatonics? Whatever it's
have.
called?
Yeah.
Pentonics or whatever it
I
is?
think it is pentatonics. I
Okay,
think
you're
so.
right.
I
You're
think she's right
I
on that
just
one.
was simply asking.
But
I
I'm
was
right there
asking.
with you on the Christmas music. Like, I mean, I can take it for the first couple of weeks. Like, it's okay. This is a nice little reminder of Christmas, and you get in the Christmas spirit. But months of it, or even a lifetime of it, no, there's no way.
Well, see, here the thing is that lots of artists are coming out with Christmas music now, so it could be some variations on. John Legend has a fantastic Christmas album. I mean,
I'm good.
I know.
I'm with you.
I'm good. Christmas time.
Yeah, I can't even. We listen to the last episode. If I cannot be in the forest when it's nighttime, then I certainly am not watching horror movies.
Do you know how many people have stopped me and been like, okay, so a horse-sized duck. And I'm like, what do you... Oh, I'm glad you listened to the podcast. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what's your vote?
Maybe we should ask Cole that one too.
Yeah.
Do you?
Would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
I think I'm going to take the one.
The one?
Yeah, the horse-sized duck.
Yeah.
What's the big one?
I can't remember what I said. I didn't think I could fight off 100 of anything.
Yeah, I don't think I can fight off 100, but I'll give that one all I got.
So Tristan in IT says he would take the one because he's like, dude, ducks have hollow bones. I could snap a leg off and I'll be good.
Wow, I'm impressed with
He
his
thought
duck
about
knowledge.
bone
Nice.
density and everything in his fight. And I'm like, I didn't even think about that. That's really
I don't
smart.
even know that fact.
Good old Chance is smart.
Wow.
I was thinking more like just one beak.
Oh.
Them feet can't hurt you, but
Yeah.
just one beak versus 100.
Well,
Yeah.
nobody said that you couldn't wear rubberized boots or something like that.
See?
Some wading gear.
Absolutely.
Man.
Make it work.
I love how we bring this deep
Yeah,
conversation.
it's important. It's important. So, like I said earlier, we have Cole G Money Greene up in the house, and he's going to enlighten us in his subject today. But before we dive into that, Cole, man, who are you, man? How did you come to old MGZ? What were you doing before you got here?
All right. Before I was here, I spent 8 years in law enforcement, 10 total certified. really, really, really enjoyed it. But it just became a lot mentally, and just over the years started suffering from some mental trauma and some mental illness. And I was a field training officer, and so one of the guys that I had trained, I actually ran into him in Target, and he asked me what was I doing. I explained to him that was looking for another career, and he actually works here. And he told me, hey, man, you ought to give Morris-Jenkins a try. You ever thought about doing heating and air? And I said, nah, man, it's never even crossed my mind. But after some long conversations with him, he spoke very highly of this place, and I figured just give it a shot. Give it a shot, and here I am.
Came through the good old tech builder program.
Yep.
How was that for you?
Very nerve-wracking. I haven't been in school in like 17 years. Like, I don't remember how to study. I don't remember how to take a test.
Yeah.
Like, I work on things like with my hands and in person. But thanks to the help of good old Meredith here in Shallon, they were like, hey, this is how you study. You use index cards and you write them down and you put them in 3 different baggies. And they were able to help me get through.
Did you ever think that you would be back in school mode with flashcards yet again after leaving school?
Absolutely not. I hated school. I wanted to get out as fast as possible. And once I got out, I didn't want to look back. And
Welcome back.
Then I had to look back.
Welcome back.
Are you originally from North Carolina?
No, from York, South Carolina.
Okay.
Born and raised.
So not too far.
Yep. Not too far across the border. And then my family is from Hickory Grove, South Carolina, and which is way out in the country. And I currently live in Sharon, South Carolina, which is 2-3 miles away. So it's not too far from like where my family was raised at.
Yeah. You got a little haul to get into work from where you are?
A little what?
Haul?
Like drive?
That's what us North Carolinians call it, my friend.
Drive? Yeah. It's a long drive. But you kind of adapt your lifestyle to it. When you leave the house in the morning, I need some milk and eggs or some shaving cream and whatever you need.
Did you say milk and eggs?
Milk and eggs, baby. Milk and eggs. Whatever you need for the day. If you need some cheese or whatever, you know that on your way home, hey, I need to stop by the store and pick that up because once you get home, we're not running out just to grab some sugar. Mm-hmm. Like, no, we're just going to make do for the night.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll deal with it tomorrow.
That's right.
So you like that because I can't live that far away from the grocery store. So there must be something about you that appreciates that kind of off the beaten path, maybe.
Yeah. It's just a different lifestyle. For me, when I was a kid, we grew up where you didn't have to worry about anyone snatching your kids up, or like we played baseball in the road, and we didn't have a neighborhood per se, but you had some neighborhood kids that you could ride your bike to their house. And so it's just a different lifestyle that I wanted to give my kids, that they could just have the freedom to go down the street and visit some friends, or they could get on their bikes and ride for miles and miles without having to worry about getting hit by a car or snatched up by someone. To not have to lock everything up, not locking your cars up, your kids' toys up, your lawnmowers up, like just to be able to live freely and not have to worry about that kind of stuff. It's just a different lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about being close to a grocery store. Me and my wife, I told her, I was like, I just want to find a place with a little bit of land, just a few acres, and we can just enjoy. I was like, if I want to go pee off my back porch, I could do it. Or if I want to go shoot in the backyard, which I want to do that all the time, I'm like, I could just go out there and do it. And she's like, I don't want to live more than 15 minutes from Target.
So see, you bring that up. I didn't know if I could say that on the podcast or not, but yes, being able to go on your back porch or front porch and pee. You're out there taking the dog out, and you got to go. You go too.
Yeah.
This
absolutely.
is really enlightening.
Yeah.
I've never once. I mean, I guess.
You hadn't peed off your back porch?
Never even thought about it.
Nor thought about it.
The other thing is, like you said, being able to shoot out there.
Yeah.
We have coyotes really bad.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to walk out on the back porch and see, 4 or 5 of them.
Oh, Lord have
Shoot 'em.
mercy.
Just shoot them.
Yeah, we actually have a decent sized coyote in our neighborhood. He runs around. Somebody's like, that's a big dog. And
You're like, no,
No,
sir.
that's not a dog.
he was running through somebody's backyard. Somebody got a snap of him, looked like a dang werewolf running through their backyard.
Yep.
And I was like, that
He's
thing,
eating good.
oh, he's doing real good. That our whole neighborhood's kind of tucked away in the back, so we're in like Matthews, and we live. Part of our neighborhood has a golf course attached to it, and then there's a river that runs through, and then you have another neighborhood, but it's all kind of it's heavily wooded, and so we'll have deer roll through there and all kinds of stuff. But that's the first time I've ever seen anything like that running through our neighborhood, and I was like, oh, that's not a common sight in the Matthews area from what I've seen so far.
No, and we get them by the packs, like out there. I mean, you'll hear them from way off coming, and then it gets eerie, honestly, because like you hear that screech and squeal, and it's like, all right, how many's in this one?
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, we haven't had any issues where they're approaching our dogs or children or anything. But we have gotten permission from DNR to night hunt out there, so we have blinds set up. We call them in, and we kill them regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I guess it's like they have to have somewhere to go. I mean, maybe it's from developing the land. I don't know, because we have them in our neighborhood too, and it's not like we live in the middle of Waxhaw, so they'll just be a coyote walking down the street in the neighborhood. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. They gotta live too, I guess.
No, they
Not
better.
at Cole's house.
nope.
No, they better not touch my dog. That's
Nope.
all I have to say. Poor Indy. She would stand a chance.
Oh, Indy.
Yep, she would.
Most don't stand a chance.
Yeah,
No.
she wouldn't stand a chance. Poor
Well, you got to
thing.
think about stuff like that with your kids out there playing around in the yard and whatnot. I mean,
Yes.
our kids are 8 and 10, and so they're a little older and a little bigger now. But you got to be
Still.
careful, watch out there.
Yeah. What about you mentioned kids? Tell us about your family.
Yeah. So I've got 2 girls, Lila and Harper. Lila's my oldest one. She's 12. Harper's 9. And there's something about that second kid. Oh, Lord, y'all. If I'd have had her first, we wouldn't have had another one. Because she walks to the beat of her own drum. Nothing phases her. She's rough and tough. And I try to encourage that personality, but also try to find a way to tame it, because it's like she tests me and her mom. But you want that in today's society. Like, you want her to be that leader and not a follower, because my oldest one, she wants to be a follower, and we're working on that. But
Yeah.
she's just really shy like her mom. And then my youngest one, Harper, is like myself and very self-driven, self-motivated, and go.
Yep.
So,
I feel like the only thing you can do is like redirect that energy.
Yes.
If they're gonna be wild, like the wild thornberries, you got to
Yes.
just redirect that towards a positive direction, because you try to bottle that down, it'll pop out somewhere.
oh yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
coming out somewhere every time. And right now we're redirecting that. Both play softball. I coach girls travel softball, and I coach my oldest, and my youngest is really starting to take a liking to it. And that's where we're redirecting that energy, is school and softball.
Cool.
That, hey, on the softball field, that anger, you can direct at that ball. Like, we can hit that ball hard and far. That energy of the hustle, wanting to go hard. Like, let's go hard after the ball every time. If you want to dive, sliding, diving after a ball, whatever it is, go hard there, so that when we come home, we're tired.
Right. Not in the living room.
Yes, we're not doing that in the living room.
Yeah, you don't want to play a little handball in the house.
We do, but the ball's on the string. That's kind of what we've limited to. But with 2 dogs in the house, we have 2 golden doodles. They think that it's playtime for them as well.
Yeah.
And so when you've got kids throwing balls in opposite directions and you've got dogs chasing the balls, it's like, all right, let's just push the furniture back.
Everybody stop.
Yes. I'm sure that's how my wife feels. She's like, Cole, get this under control. Me, I'm loving it.
Cole, get it under control. And he's got his hand up ready to hit the ball.
Yes,
He's like,
yes.
what are you talking about, honey?
I'm over here, throw it to me.
Yep. Yeah, we definitely do that at the house. And I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. We have a little soft little foam ball.
Yep.
It's going to be cool. But then you start knocking stuff over. It's not
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
What got you into what took you down the path of law enforcement?
So growing up, I played ball my entire life, from the time I could drag a bat to actually hitting a ball. I took a love for it as early as I can remember, at about 7 or 8. And then I had one coach my entire life, that was a real big, heavy influence on me. His name was Tony Mefford, and then the assistant coach then at the time, his name was Brian Trail. And both of those, so Tony never was in law enforcement, but Brian Trail, and then Matt Burrell was like an assistant. He was just a parent that helped out. But both of those being in law enforcement, when we come to practice as little boys, you look up to those people, and to hear the stories of, oh, we got in a car chase, oh, we got in a fight, oh, we did this, oh, we did that. It just sounded fun as a young child. So I always wanted to do it, but then the older you get, you start seeing the other side of it. You start seeing the dangers of it, and then you start seeing the money side of it. All right, well, can I make a living doing it? Can I support a family doing it? So starting out, I put in for several different agencies. Nobody would even give me a chance because at the time, if you were not certified, no agencies were paying the money to have you certified and then have to wait a year on you to get through. And if you make it completely and get certified through the academy.
Is that like the BLET program
or
whatever?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yep. Same thing, except for it's a lot shorter in South Carolina. It was only 12 weeks. But if you did not make it through this SCCJA, it's the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy. If you did not make it through that, then obviously they were out the time and the money that they had already invested in you. And so no one would give you a chance. But once my former baseball coach found out that I had put in for law enforcement, was trying to get in, he said, come see me. And I went and seen him, sat down, we had a very serious conversation that, hey, look, I've known you my entire life. I know you have the drive and the will. I'm willing to put forth that chance. And so he gave me that chance starting out. I got hired on, spent 2.5 years, 2.5, 3 years there, and then had kind of topped out there aside from leadership and wanted more. So then I went to York County. That was at York City. Went to York County and then spent the rest of my time there because I always wanted to be a canine officer. Something about tracking someone through the woods in the middle of the night, or even a missing person or a missing child, that really just excited me, and I couldn't get that at the city. And me and him had a very long conversation again when I put in my 2 weeks notice of, hey, this is not personal. This is just me wanting to advance me. And he understood it and actually gave me a recommendation to go over there. And so I went there and spent the rest of my time there. But he definitely was the drive behind getting into law enforcement because of all the positivity that I heard from him at baseball practice. And then me and his son got really close and just hanging out together.
So you finally got to do the K-9 deal?
Yeah. So technically when you get to the agency, you're supposed to spend 1 year probationary period before you can apply for any extra SWAT, K-9, the drone team, anything. But because of the recommendation from the chief, they were like, hey, we're going to put you on a 3-month probationary period with the understanding that you can apply and get on the team, but you're going to still be on probation for that full year. So, watch yourself, make sure you're answering your phone, you're going to call outs, you're going to training, that whole nine. And I was just so stinking excited. I was like, just give me the chance. Like, I'll be there.
Where's my dog?
Yes, get the dog. Let's go. But after, like I said, I got on, I would say probably within about 3 or 4 months of getting hired on. It was about 4 months in, got hired on. And I was that guy, like you called, it didn't matter what I was doing. I was going to that K-9 call because that was my drive. That's what I wanted to do. And then it got to the point where so we had K-9 officers, which is what I was, and then you had K-9 handlers who was handling the dog or like driving the dog. And all of the K-9 handlers knew that, like, hey, if you call Cole, he's coming. And so then it got to be a lot.
Yeah.
But I still couldn't say no because that was my drive. Like, that's what I wanted to do. That's the whole reason I went over there in the first place. And then it started taking time away from my family. And then, the paychecks got bigger, and it's like, all right, this is nice. But I didn't see how much time I was losing with my family.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's tough. you enjoying something so much, but then also recognizing what sacrifices are that have to be made to do the things that you love. But then it's like, man, I want to spend time with my family.
100%. I feel like that's the biggest struggle as a male, is trying to balance working, like how much do I work versus how much time do I spend at home? Because if you spend a lot of time at home, your paychecks are going to be short and the bills are still coming.
Yeah.
But vice versa, if you spend a whole lot of time at work, you got the money to pay them bills, but your kids and your wife and your marriage, everything else is lacking.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest struggle that I had.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting. This is probably a whole different topic. I think it's so, not that you shouldn't feel responsible for that, but I still think it's so interesting that the male father, dad, whatever you want to call it, feels so much responsibility for that. I just think that it's really interesting. I mean, we've had that conversation in our house. So my husband's a tennis coach. And there was a time where he was super busy with matches and this and that, and he travels, of course. His team has to go different places. But he was also doing lessons, like giving tennis lessons on the side. And finally, I just said, why, like, I need you at home.
Yep.
I can't take everybody where they need to go and help with homework and get dinner ready. I need help. But from his point of view, he was taking on and doing all these lessons because it was extra income for our family. And so it was just interesting to me how that's what he felt like he needed or had to do, where in reality, I just needed him to be at home because I needed help. But I think I didn't tell him we need more money. I didn't say, what else are you doing to bring more money in?
Yeah.
He just, in his head, that's what he thought he was supposed to do or needed to do. And it literally was like, I needed the opposite. I needed him to not do any lessons and come to the house.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And
'Cause
like
I
I said,
need your
that's
help.
the biggest struggle that we struggle with, males struggle with, is trying to balance that.
Yeah.
I was going to say the two things that came to mind with that, because I ran into the exact same thing. Working here, I've worked here for 14 years, and starting off as a tech, it's a great gig. You can do well for yourself. You're able to take care of people, and then the beautiful part about working here is you can continue to grow. And I was like, man, I want to continue to grow and get better and get better. But the two things that came to mind was provision and protection. So it's like, I want to provide for my family. It's really important. And, there's always that inherent, like, if I work more, I can make more, I can provide more. That's my way of giving back to the family. And then the whole protection piece, just, make sure your family's safe, whether it be emotionally or physically, whatever. But there's always that constant drive. And I've never felt a moment where it's ever gone away. It's always been there.
Yep.
But like you said earlier, Cole, like, that balance piece of how much do I provide? I feel like the protection piece, unless you turn into a prepper or something like that at your house, like if nuclear apocalypse happens. Cole, you're not a prepper, are you?
No, I'm not
just
a prepper
checking.
at all. At all.
His eyes light up. He's like, excuse me.
No, not at all.
This podcast is open.
But I feel like the provision piece of working hard for your family and maybe staying a little bit over to make sure that you're able to provide, or, hey, I'll take that extra call or what have you. You're feeling like that provision is what the family needs and wants. In reality, they want you to be there and be dad, which that's always a really hard balance because it's like, okay, I'll just stay home.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people I know that I'm just going to stay home all the time. You need to go to work.
Yeah.
I'm home. So it's that balance piece is really tough.
Yeah, and the pressure of that seems like that would be, I mean, that feels like, I mean, I don't want Michael to feel like that's all his responsibility. I'm sure that he feels a great deal of that, of that pressure, but I just don't, I mean, you ain't got to carry that load on your own, man.
Yeah,
like
but
it's
it's
wired
just,
in.
I was going to say, I feel like it's just something that's wired in. And then, like if we see, you, for instance, let's just say you want to go get your nails done, but the bills have got us thin, we ain't got a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
Then we take that on personally that, like, maybe I can run that extra call, or I can do that extra tennis lesson and make that money so that you're able to go do that. Like, we take that on personally. That's something that we do when we hear that.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing for me was I didn't realize how much time I was missing with my kids until now, 2 years later, that I've been there a lot more with them, and I've attended those practices and those games and those school events, and even just literally sitting on the front porch in the evenings, letting the dogs play in the front yard, like that kind of stuff. It really sinks in that extra call ain't worth it, or that extra, whatever is not worth it.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is where I need to be, because like you said in some of the classes, Meredith, like, I'm down to 5 summers with my kids now.
Yeah.
Or I'm down to a couple of years now, and it's like, all right, I'll have time to do me in a couple of years. But for right now, it's all about these kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark Cagle, he told me that sounds like Mark Cagle speak. Rob, you realize you got 6 more summers left with your kids. And you think in years, I've got 6 years left.
Yep.
Sounds like a lot of time, but he's like, you got 6 summers.
Yep.
6 Christmases, and you're like, I don't like thinking about that.
No.
We just had our first day of school yesterday, and me and Susie took the kids to school and dropped them off and let them walk. And this was the first year that we didn't walk them all the way to class. We kind of dropped them off, and they kind of walk up the stairs, and they were all the way at the end of the other hall. And I was like, oh, we're not walking them down? She's like, no, I wasn't going. Do you want to? And I'm like, I mean, it's okay. And I was like, I kept looking at her. I'm like, are you crying? She's like, no, I'm not crying. I'm good now. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like,
I'm good.
I'm just going to get back in my car. It's fine. It's a lot of allergies today,
Get
huh?
it together. Get it together.
Yeah, and I think it does go by. Actually, today, as we're recording the podcast, Shallon's dropping her oldest off at college.
Oh.
Yeah, and I remember when Maddie came to Matthews. That's where Shallon and I met, was Matthews Elementary, and I remember when Maddie started elementary school there, and now they're moving her into her dorm today. And it goes by fast. I mean, it just goes by fast. And so I do think you're right. It is, when you start putting it in Mark Cagle speak, 6 summers, it does really start making you recognize, what's important and what's not important.
What other good wisdom does Mark Cagle have? You got anything in your back pocket?
Man, he is just a wealth of knowledge. He has just helped me out in so many different ways, from the books that he's read to the different things just that he's experienced throughout the years. But I think more than anything, that's really, and we just kind of touched on it and then rolled into it, but that's really what he has stressed to me, is balancing that out to spend more time with those kids. Back in the wintertime, we were slow. I was in here just talking to him, and he looks at me and was like, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm just trying to kill time in between calls. Like, I don't really have anything to do. And he said, go home. And then on my way home, I was just kind of reflecting on, like, our conversation that we had, and then him just saying, go home. And it really hit home for me that that's the first time a supervisor has ever told me to go home. Like, go home and spend time with your family. Like, we ain't got anything going on here. Go home. Mm-hmm. And so just he has really helped me balance that family work time, or family work relationship, to see and open my eyes, really. Yes, you only have 5 more summers or 5 more Christmases. And then I have expressed that to my kids. Now, I haven't held that in. I've explained to them, like, we're going to make the best of every holiday we've got left, and every Christmas we've got left, and every summer and every vacation. And of course they're like, nah, Dad, we're not going nowhere. Like, we're going to stay with you forever. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're going to move your butt out of my house. That's what you're going to do. But having 2 girls, and Rob, I know you got a girl as well, it just, it really hits differently, because then as a boy, of course, you want them to succeed and provide for their family. But as a girl dad, it's like, they're going to have their own family. Yeah. And so you want them to be there for their family and spend that time. So you got to set that example, but it's not wired into us that way. And so we have to really focus on that and think about what we're doing and what we're setting them up for.
Yeah.
It's so it's so hard to think about little Charlie, who's and I don't know what it is lately. She has been very affectionate towards me, and like it used to be, I came home from work, nobody would walk over, and it was just me. I'm like, hey guys, and I just dropped my bag, nothing, and then I started giving like Jack grief or Charlie. I'm like, where's my hug? And so they gave me hugs, but for a little while there, it was like forced. I'm like, where's my hug? Or I'd come give him a hug, and then I don't know what it is. Like the past probably 3 months, Charlie's the first one. She used to be the second one or the last one to come over and say, hey, now she's the first one sprinting across the floor. And then she gives you, the good hug.
Yep.
Where they don't want to let go and they got their eyes closed and they're holding on to you. I'm just like, oh, this is so nice.
Yep.
And so it's weird to think that one day they're not going to be there and that they're going to have their own family and, they start their own deal. And it's maybe even in the same situation that, we can be in when your parents are like, you're the best thing that ever happened to me, and I'd love to spend more time with you, and I just love you and all that stuff. And you're thinking, man, this is where I'm going to be one day with my kids. Of they've started their own family and they're doing their own thing, and your life has continued to move forward, and you're doing your own thing. It's a weird thought they won't be there all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's number one. I think it's really, really awesome. A couple things. Number one, that Mark can say that to you and know that that's kind of how we treat people here. It's like if you have a softball game to get to, if you have a band concert, if your kids, there's just kind of this, and I guess I would imagine that kind of comes from the way that Dewey treated other people as well. I think there's this kind of innate piece here that we're people first. We're moms, we're wives, we're husbands, dads, we're all of those things first. And I think it's really, really cool that number one, Mark can say that. And then number two, that you can recognize that that's not going to happen everywhere. You're not going to always have a culture or a boss or a supervisor, manager that will say, be a husband, a dad, be those things.
And I think that's why it struck home so hard, is because coming from law enforcement, where like your family and your life comes second, like this is your job, like you're going to stay here till the job's done. And then coming here to where not only do y'all speak family first and speak, spending time with your family and spending time with your kids, but you're living that. You're here, everyone here is living that. So that, I think that's why when I was reflecting, it was just like so overwhelming. And I even sent him a text, like thanking him for not only being that boss, but for being that dad and that mentor to, hey, go spend time with your kids, because our kids are about the same age. And so he's right in the same boat with me and him are close to the same age. So I feel every word of what he was saying. And so it's just nice to be told that this business is family oriented and then see it backed up.
Well, you're gonna have to help us out with old Randall Tooker. I need your help. I made him mad one day. Mark always
told me this story.
Oh, it's so great. Mark says the same thing to Randy. Randy, go home. I appreciate that about Mark. And Randy's like, I know, I'm involved. I got a couple more things to do. And there's one day, actually, he was in the mentorship class, and Mike Long was his accountability partner. And he's like, help me leave on time and get home and all that. That was his goal. I want to get home to Linda. And he's like, cool. He's like, am I like good to do whatever? He's like, sure. So he would go in there and turn his computer off, or he'd come in and check in on him like, hey, it's time to go home. And he's like, I only got to, nope, it's time to go home. So he was doing that. There's one day I walk in there and I'm like, Randy, what are you still doing here? And he's like, I got to get out of here. I got to go. It's Linda's birthday. I got to get out of here. And I'm like, brother, you need to go. He goes, I still got to pick up the cake. And I'm like, come here. And I walk over. It was when we still had the towers. And I just grab the standby button, and if you hold that bad boy down for like 3-4 seconds, it shuts the whole thing down. And I'm pushing. He goes, no, wait, I got some stuff. No, and just the whole thing shut down. He's like, Rob, I had 3 customers' accounts up, and I'm like, hey man, it's time to go home. Like, go pick up that cake. And
Yep.
he's like, what am I going to do? I'm like, it'll be here tomorrow, I promise.
Yeah.
You can fix it tomorrow.
I think that was the first time Randy ever really got mad at me.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty hot about that. I'm like, just go home, man. It's all good.
Yeah, but I'm sure looking back on it, he appreciates that because, like I said, you don't get that everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really don't. And I feel like when you look at businesses that have focus on family, I mean, those are going to be some of the most successful ones. It's going to be the ones that the people appreciate working there more than any other place. I mean, you even think about, I mean, that's the policy of the organization. Like you see it from the organization, but it's really the policy of the manager. It's like, this is how we operate in this department. Mm-hmm. Cole, when you think about your life and what things have come to the surface for you of what's most important, I mean, your approach to life is important. What do you feel like? What do you feel like is most important to you right now? I know you talked about your family. Are there other things that come up when you start thinking about your approach to life that's really important right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Just a much more positive outlook for me because I spent so much time, and I know I keep referring to law enforcement, but like that was, you don't realize, but that is such a negative environment. You're meeting people on their worst day, in the worst case, in the worst way, in the worst scenario. And you're trying to either make it a good interaction or turn it to positive, but most of the time you can't. And so when you're in that negative environment all the time, and then you go home and you try to turn the switch off and go positive for your family or your friends, or even just outside of work, that's very hard to do. Yeah. Very hard. And so coming here, like my number one thing is I've finally gotten away from the negative, and everyone here is so happy to be at work, so happy to be working for this company, so happy to do anything for you, that has just really spilled over to me and has given me a much more positive attitude on everything, on working, on growing emotionally, physically, and then my relationships with my kids and my wife. Just growing those in a more positive way, and just going home in a much better attitude. Mm-hmm. Like it just changes the whole home experience, because you get home and everybody's happy to see you, you're happy to see them, and it ain't arguing and fussing and fighting about why aren't these dishes done, why aren't your room cleaned up. You know, you start to see more and more positive when you're looking for that. And I've heard you say it plenty of times, you know, you find what you're looking for. And when you're searching for positive, you find the positive more than you do the negative.
Mm. What have y'all found has worked as best practices for you, stuff that you lean on when things aren't going right? Because we can try to be positive as much as we can, but you're going to have those days where it's like, this is not the day. But what have y'all found has worked best for you guys in staying positive?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'll go first.
Because you're going to have something deep. I'll just like sum it up.
He feels it.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't have any research. I don't have any things written down for this, Rob.
That high C ain't prepared. You
I
killing
know,
her.
She ain't ready.
Seriously. I think number one, we talked about this in the last episode, is taking the good with the bad. Right? I think recognizing that in the moment it feels like it really sucks. It's the worst that's ever happened. But knowing that like you felt that too about something else that's already passed. You know, we've all had situations or issues throughout our lives that were pretty crappy, and in the moment felt like the worst possible thing, but they don't feel like that now. So I think the perspective of I've been through difficult things, and those difficult things, they don't still kind of hold me hostage now. So I think the perspective of when things aren't great, how do I turn it back to positive, is recognizing this won't last forever, right? I won't feel this way forever. And what choices can I make now to do something about it? I think not kind of like sitting in it. You know, it's like when something's feeling negative, it would be maybe kind of natural to sit in it because it feels a little
ruminate over it.
Yeah,
Yep,
it feels
yep.
easier to just complain about it and perseverate over it. And I'm going to tell you about it and you about it, and this person about it. And I'm just going to keep on and keep on and keep on. But really, what am I going to choose to do about it? And let's stop talking about it. Let's stop complaining about it, and let's do something about it. Because the sooner you do something about it, I feel like then the more you can feel like you're starting to take ownership over it, and the more you can start to switch the mindset.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm very similar in that I feel like if you take control of it as quick as possible, like recognize it, take control of it, then you can change that. But like you said, if you sit in it and you stir in it, it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. But for me, what I usually do, or what I've been trying to work on doing, is when you do get in that bad mood or when something bad does happen, is to find the positive in that bad. Because there's a positive there. You're just not looking for it. You just got to find it. And so I try to find that positive in that situation. And then in doing so, it changes your mindset to find that positive. And so you don't stir in that negative. And like you said, you're not calling everybody and their mama complaining about it, which just continues to build and build and build and build. But just you find that positive, and then you start focusing elsewhere, and it takes you away from it. And then, like you said, you realize that, okay, well, I made it through something way worse than that, so I can get through this no problem.
What about you, Rob? Turn your question back on you.
Ooh.
I was ready. I'm just going to summarize everything you just said, both of you. I do think it's important for me, just when you're in a bad situation, to focus on what is the controllable. I know we've talked about it on the podcast before, but there's always something I can control in this. I do think that there is something positive out of every single situation, even if it's the worst of the worst. Even if it's going to make you a better person. It's going to build more resilience in you. It's going to teach you a lesson that you hadn't yet learned yet. We talk often with Dewey talking about you can tell the size of a person by the problems they're able to solve. And so if it's something you've never faced before, it's just going to make you better, no matter how bad the situation is. It could just be horrible and unfortunate, but there's always something good that can come out of it. So like you said, Cole, just knowing and recognizing there is a good out of this. I just have to have the discipline to find it, because it is easy to ruminate in the negative. If it's happening to you, your family, it's something you're a part of. I mean, you can just sit in it. I told the technicians the other day, why do people do what they do? And it's people tend to do the things that make them feel good and avoid things that cause them pain. So if it's easy for me to sit in the negative, it feels good to just sit there and be like, my life sucks. I'm never going to be able to do this. Whatever the story you keep telling yourself is, it feels good to do that. Just like it feels good and it's easy to just talk about somebody or gossip or do things we know we shouldn't. There's a reason why they feel good. We need to have discipline to avoid those things and do what's hard, because the hard things like that help us to grow.
Why'd you ask him?
I know.
Like, this man just takes it to a whole nother level.
Stop.
Just
Stop it.
philosophy over here. Philosophy of Rob.
Stop. Do y'all feel like, and I know we're talking about the approach to life today, do y'all feel like there is a specific approach to life? I know we're talking about maintaining positivity in life, which is it's a good approach. Is that what it's all about, or is there something more to it?
I think it's circumstantial. Obviously, you got to be positive, because if not, then you go negative, because it's one or the other. And then if you dwell in the negative, you're going to stay there, like we were saying. But I think it's more circumstantial. You got to learn in each situation to accept the bad, find the positive, and grow from every situation that you go through. That way that when you do face something a little bit harder, it makes it easier to overcome or work through, because we've never lived this life before, right? It's all new. And I tell my oldest daughter this all the time, like, I've never raised a teenager before. You've never been a teenager. Like, let's work through this together. You show me grace, I show you grace. That's just kind of how it works. But, that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's well, when we started talking about what should the topic be for this episode, that's one of the things that stands out to me about Cole, which is why we decided to do this today. Is just, it doesn't matter. Every time I meet you, every time I see you, every time I hear you talking and having interactions with other people, it's just, there's just this outlook, this approach, this something that feels different. And I think that maybe that is, maybe it is the positivity. Maybe it is the fact that you have these experiences in your life that have made you really appreciate what your experiences are now. And so then that made me start thinking, well, I wonder what people think, like, what do people think about me? What is my approach to life? Like, is there a list I can choose from? Is there a test? Is there a quiz online I can take?
Rob, send her the assessment.
I got you.
Because, then I started thinking about, do I feel like I'm positive most of the time? Sure. But then I started thinking, is there kind of like more to it than that? And so then it was like, maybe my approach to life is like helping and supporting others.
I can see that.
And I can't fulfill that approach or successfully navigate that approach if I'm not making the choice to see the good in things. And so I wondered, for both of you, when you think about your approach to life, if somebody asked you that question, what's your approach to life? What would you say?
Jesus, man. For real.
Mm-hmm.
I was, as you were walking through that, I was thinking about can you sum up the approach to life?
Mm-hmm.
Can you do that, or is it multiple things? And I think it's both. I think there's different elements of how people approach life, and the interesting part is, do they even have the awareness that they're approaching life in a certain way?
I think that's the kicker. Is
Yeah.
like, are you even aware that you're approaching life?
Yeah.
I don't think people recognize a lot of
Yeah.
things. I mean, I'm sure as a police officer, you see people completely oblivious
Yes.
to spatial awareness.
Yes.
Like, hey, when you walk in the parking lot, you might want to look and see how many heads
100%.
are in the cars. And
Ride down here to QT on Carey Williams Boulevard. Just sit there and watch some people. They are completely oblivious. They'll walk straight out the door, straight out through the parking lot, and you got 15 cars about to hit them.
Mm-hmm.
And they had never even seen the car.
or even pumping your gas. People are on their phone. And I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, somebody's going to come get you.
Yeah.
You better watch out. I have a fear that somebody's going to try to come sneak up on me at the gas station. And I have had this fear for a long time. And I'm like, let the day happen. I'm waiting for the one person to come around here. What's up, man? And I just snap him right in the neck. I'm ready for it, Cole.
See, you're going violence, man. Like, you're pumping gas, right?
Yeah.
Pull that thing out and hose them down, bro.
I'm not going. Why am I going to do that? What if they walk up with a cigarette? It turns into a
That's their
blowtorch.
fault.
That's called
That is
murder.
their fault.
That's called murder, and I think we all know where that goes.
Listen, this is what I can't get over about this whole scenario. I'm the crazy one because my fear is being out in the forest at night, and your fear is being attacked at the gas station.
It is a real life situation. I'm telling
It
you
is.
what.
I should
If you see me at QT, you better make yourself well known that you're walking up. You better walk up in my field of view. Don't come sneak up behind me.
Is your head on a swivel?
All the time.
Man,
Gotta
that's
be.
interesting.
There's not many days at the gas station that I'm just standing there staring at the numbers, thinking about the day. I'm like, looking left and right. How many cars are in the parking lot?
Is
Who
today
looks
the day?
sketchy? Yeah, is today the day I get to Judy chop somebody in the neck? But anyways, back
Judy
to
chop.
Jesus. So I think there's many approaches to life, and I think the awareness that people have or may not have of you're approaching life in a positive way, a negative way. Are you approaching it with a growth mindset, or is it abundance or scarcity? What does that mindset look like? Unfortunately, a lot of those mindsets that people have, I think there's genetic predisposition that we have to think of things maybe more skeptically. And I think that's what actually makes people beautiful. When we talk about the DISC assessment, we talk about certain gifts and talents that people have. And so you could look at somebody that's very skeptical all the time as that's a negative quality. But what if they're a detective?
Yeah.
Like, that's a fantastic
100%.
job. They're like, I don't trust anyone. This is like real life Clue. So I think that there's pros with that. So I think there's multiple ways you can approach it. But for me, I mean, the Lord means the most to me above anything else. And I feel like, how can you approach life? This is just my personal opinion. But if you approach everybody with love, like how Jesus did, and you're really living your life for him, I mean, just think, I mean, the perfect human being walked the world and did so many miracles and helped the people that no one even wanted to spend time with. People that others avoided, he was there for them. And a lot of times it was in privacy. It wasn't, I mean, there was crowds around him all the time, but he would slip away and go help somebody. I feel like if you approach life unconditionally, just, I'm here to help people. I'm here to offer love to people. I'm here to make other people's lives better. I don't need reciprocation. I feel like if you walk your life with that in mind, how can you not have a good life? Mm-hmm. Now, good life and easy life, that ain't the same.
And that's what I was fixing to say. Just because it's a good life don't mean it's going to be easy, because it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
He made it to 33.
Yeah.
And it was not an easy life, but I mean, there's so many records of how many people he's helped throughout his lifespan. It was just a short life. I mean, it's a gift to be able to live 33 years or 50 years or whatever. But what are you leaving behind? What is that legacy going to be? How do people remember you? Just like how she was describing you, Cole, I mirror everything that she said. We actually, and this is going to kind of be on the fly, I'm going to put you on the spot. We were sitting in, we were reading a book study with the tactical and operations team, and the first activity, you'll never believe this, Brandon Anderson was like, hey, I have an important start for this. You're going to pair off with these people, and you need to come up with what animal the person that you are with is like what animal represents them, and tell them why. And so we had to do that on the spot and go through each one. And I was like, I'm with Casey Welch and Welch Broadbeck. And I was sitting there with Fran, and I was like, cool. So I told Fran, I'm like, you were like an owl with, I think of the Tootsie Roll, Tootsie Pop owl with the, only for the fact that he has the hat on, for only that reason. And then I told Casey, I said, you're either a Wolverine or the Tasmanian Devil, the cartoon version. I'm like, I never know what's going to come out of your mouth, but like, you get stuff done, you're fierce for your people and all that stuff. And I told Fran, I'm like, she's very studious and just intelligent and all that. I'm like, Cole, she said this to me, but the whole time I've been sitting here listening to you guys talk, I'm like, Cole is what she said to me. You are a golden retriever, my man. Oh. I've never met a golden retriever that's not happy. Mm-hmm. There's even like pictures of golden retrievers that are smiling. And I don't know how they do that, but that's you, dog. Like, you're loyal.
Go ahead, I'm blushing.
You're warm personality. You're kind all the time. You're happy all the time. And I know that's not an easy thing to do, but you make it look effortless. You do a good job of that.
And it's a choice. It is, because I mean, there are days, I wake up, I don't want to go to work today. And then there again, like I was telling you earlier, I catch myself in that moment. And instead of saying I don't want to go to work today, I say I get to go to work today.
Yeah.
Like, I actually get to go to work today. Oh man, that changes your whole mindset right then and there, because it's a privilege to be able to go to work. It's a privilege to be able to work. And so thank y'all for saying like all these kind words. Like I said, I'm over here blushing. This is like, oh my God, this is
it's
weird.
It's a good thing we're on a podcast. One day we'll get cameras in here.
But yeah, like I said, it is a choice. It's not easy most days. But then there are days where it is easier. But there again, I've made a choice, and that choice is to find that positive and redirect that energy into something productive, whether that be helping someone or training someone or teaching someone, my ways that I can help them come out of that negative mindset and try to adjust their approach. Because a negative mentality at the end of the day is going to burn you out.
Yeah.
It uses so much energy. And I can speak from experience, like going home just completely drained to now coming home and feeling like I've had 15 Red Bulls and I'm ready to cut the grass with scissors.
Ready to cut it with my teeth.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's, so there was a couple things. I did have some research on this. I'm feeling very comfortable in this topic. There was a couple things that you said that made me think of some of the things that I read. Is like when we wake up and we are like, I don't want to go to work, I don't want to get out of bed. We think about what can go wrong with the day. It triggers our body's stress response, right? Then we go into immediately, like, your eyes open in the morning and already you're thinking about, and I catch myself doing this too. What all do I have to do today? What's going to get done? Oh my God, what if I don't get this done? Immediately it sets us on this track of fight or flight. And so right from the get-go of the day, you're already dumping, I don't know if it's adrenaline. I can't ever remember the right cortisol.
Sure. Stress, cortisol,
Yeah.
and then adrenaline just gets you.
Yeah, so the whole already you're starting off the day kind of like, and that doesn't do anything to set you up for the rest of the day. And so making that choice in the morning when you wake up to think something different, turn that around. We're reading The High Five Habit right now, and she basically says when you start having those types of thoughts, you just say, I'm not going to think about that. I'm going to make the choice to reframe this and think of it differently. And that it is a choice. It's funny because we talked about choice in the last episode. And we get to determine how the day unfolds. I wrote down Jim Rohn's quote, which I have up in my cubicle. Either you run the day or the day runs you.
That's facts right there.
Mm-hmm. And so from the moment you open your eyes, you decide to run the day or let the day run you. The other thing I picked up from that, which obviously we know that you're not a robot, and that you are not happy 100% of the time with this positive outlook. But I do think something you said made me think about this is when we do make the choice to be in that positive mindset as much as possible, it makes it that much easier for us to bounce back when we do have a negative experience. So it's much harder if you're kind of living in a negative space to then come out of a negative experience. But if you're in a headspace where you're positive, you're looking for opportunity, and when the bad things do come around, it's like, okay, I got to get out of this.
Yep.
I can flip it because I know how to do that now. That's how I do it most days. And so I think that's another important part of really thinking about how are you approaching, because then it helps to navigate the times when things aren't so great.
Well said.
I want to ask you, so I do think we talk about highways in our brain. You can have a highway. Well, you think about if I do a pattern of behavior, you start to, your brain has neuroplasticity. It says, okay, this is what they're going to do most often. So it creates like a highway of behavior, and it's very easy for you to gravitate towards that. An example could be positivity. You look at a situation immediately. You've done it so many times that you always look for the positive. It's easy. You don't even have to think about it. Yeah. Likewise, some people have it for negative. What do you feel like you've learned along the way? Maybe it's strategies or just lessons learned that has helped you shape your pattern of thinking, your approach to life towards positivity.
I'm going to go back to what Meredith said here. Like, honestly, I feel like it's repetition. Just like anything else, you do it enough, it becomes muscle memory, and then it becomes just second nature, and then you don't even realize you're doing it. Mm-hmm. So I would say just repetition, just constantly reminding yourself, all right, I'm staying positive today, or wake up in the morning and tell yourself, man, it's going to be an amazing day. I don't care if you got a flat tire on your van and it didn't start and you're already sweating at 7 a.m. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a reason that tire was flat and your battery didn't start. Maybe there was somebody on the way to work that was on their phone and they was going to T-bone you and kill you. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to find the positive in every situation, no matter how you got to do it or what it takes. And then you do that enough to the point where the negative just kind of quiets. Like, you quiet that negative side down. And it's like, I'm not dealing with that. I'm not hearing that. I'm staying positive today. I'm not letting anything affect me. And when you make that choice over and over and over again, it just becomes second nature, and you just do it without even realizing it.
Mm-hmm. Cole's out there changing his tire in the street. talking to himself. Just stop talking to me like that. I'm not saying that to you. This is ridiculous. It's not ridiculous. Somebody's going to stop and help and they keep driving.
It's usually the other way around. Like I'm changing their tire, or I've changed a couple technicians' tires before, and they're just fussing about it the whole time. And I'm like, it's okay, man. Like, I got this, man. It's just your tire. Like,
there's the golden retriever right there. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's funny.
Where's the ball? Where's the ball?
Yeah, I read that too, where it talked about pay attention to what upsets you, because if stubbing your toe sends you off the deep end, or a flat tire on your van sends you off the deep end, then you need to do some heavy thinking and reflecting about what's going on inside, because do any of us want a flat tire or ready to? No. But if that causes you to lose your shit, then there's something else going on in there that you need to address, because if we can't navigate a flat tire or a stubbed toe, then we have some other things we need to kind of work through, which probably goes back to how you're living your life, or how you're seeing your life, because those types of things are going to happen, and if we let them trip us up like that, then we definitely have some stuff that we need to think about and look at. That is to me a sign of some deeper issues, when we have that kind of anger or frustration just kind of boiling right underneath the surface.
It's just a flat tire, man.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that, going back to what you're saying there, Meredith, is just issues that you haven't dealt with.
Yeah.
And it could be a number of things. I mean, it could be work issues, it could be personal issues, it could be anything, but you push and push and push, and then that flat tire explodes those issues.
Yeah.
But just don't push that stuff down. Deal with it. And a lot of people don't want to deal with it. They don't want to face it. They don't want to appear weak. They don't want to deal with small issues. And they're like, oh, I'll deal with it another time. I'll deal with it. And you put it off. And then all of a sudden that cannon goes off.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like Rob said earlier, that the harder thing to do is to address it and deal with it.
100%.
The easier thing to do is to pretend like it's not happening, or hope it goes away.
Yep.
And I think we all know that 9 times out of 10, that's not what happens.
No.
I just always think I never can get Jocko's good out of my mind.
No.
Him just saying, "Oh, you didn't get the job? Good." It's every possible. I got a flat tire today. Good. It's funny. I've watched this video probably 3,000 times, and it just always makes me laugh, because every possible thing that could happen to you in that, you can always say good, no matter what it is. It's good, because there is the good that can come out of it, like we said earlier, if you are focused on it. But if you don't focus on it, you'll never find the good. Mm-hmm. It's easy to just lean into that, but. I don't know how many times something's happened, and I've said it to somebody just to be funny. I'm like, good. And they just laugh, and I'm like, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm dead serious. I don't care what it is. There's something good in it.
Oh yeah. Now I laugh about your story that you told us in Tech Builder about the whole bike and the trail and tree.
Bike and the tree.
Oh man, yeah. That's what I think about. Is a negative mindset and a negative thought takes you down that wrong path, and you end up hitting the tree.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so that's what I think about a lot, is that negativity is going to take you down the wrong path, and it's going to end up in destruction. Pick a different path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a question for you from the technician side, because this is just from my seat in the stadium. You can tell me if I'm wrong or off. Although I'm practically a technician anyway.
You are.
Rob did help me fix my furnace, and I did it myself.
Okay. All right.
I cleaned my flame sensor.
Dang.
Wait. With a $100 bill.
That's what I was fixing to say. What dollar bill we using?
Yeah, a $1 bill. But anyway, I guess my question.
It's a $1 bill. I had to borrow from my neighbor.
So my guess is that so you're running maintenances, day in and day out, and my guess is that can feel repetitive.
Yep.
So how do you take this kind of outlook approach to life that you have and make that feel different to you, but also to the customer? Because I have a strong feeling that your customers don't interact with you and think Cole's run 100 maintenances already this month or whatever, because that's not what it looks like to them. So for our technicians or our folks who are out there running calls, not just maintenances. I mean, it is, the same types of calls we see no matter what role you're in out in the field. How do you take this piece and kind of apply it to that part of your job or your profession?
Yeah, so honestly, I've never really thought about that until you ask it. But the way I do it is literally every call. I do it the exact same way. This is a new call. That person may be dealing with the same issue that you just left, but to them, this is the worst case scenario. And I had this conversation with a lady on Tuesday that her AC wasn't working, and she said, "I'm sure you deal with this all the time." And I said, "Yes, ma'am, but this is detrimental to you. Like, this is the worst of the worst. You don't have air. It's miserably hot in here." And I just deal with it one call at a time as if that is the worst situation that person has ever dealt with. Even if it is just a maintenance, I try to give them the best maintenance experience that they've ever had. Because there again, if I'm trying to stay positive, I got to continue to push and push and push in a positive way, whether that be sitting down, having something to drink with them, sitting down, having a 30-minute conversation before I have to go do my maintenance. Or if they, if I'm reading them and I can kind of tell something's going on, dig in, like get personal with them. I try to be personal on every single call and learn something about that person or their situation or their life or their job. I mean, there's been times where nothing's going on with the person, but we've talked about their job and I've genuinely been interested in their job, and we sit down and we talk about it, and just making it a personal experience on every single call with those people. And I don't say it to brag, but like that's where the reviews come from. That's how I'm doing so well with the reviews. But you make it a personal experience, and then they want you coming back, and they love the company because that. There ain't no other company out here like us that's going to sit down and take the time to just hear them out, whether it be them yelling at you about something that happened or their frustration with another totally different company, not even a heating and air company. The irrigation guy came and they didn't even fix what they were supposed to fix. That water's still leaking out through there. But just hearing them out, just being human, just a personal relationship on every single call. If you don't leave that call and you didn't learn something about that person, either you weren't listening or you didn't dig deep enough. So
you said be human. What does it mean to be human to you?
Just to listen to these people and have just a normal conversation. Like you said, Meredith, of course, we're not a robot, but if I go in and I run every single call, every single time, I'm doing it the same way every time, it does become robotic. You've got to add emotion to it. You've got to add excitement to it. If I go and I run a maintenance and there's nothing wrong, I don't come in and go, "Oh, sorry, there's nothing wrong with your system." No, I'm coming in wide open, like we're flinging the door open. "You're not going to believe this." And they're like, "Oh God, what?" It's like, everything's great. And they're like, "Oh, I was expecting you to say like something's wrong. It's going to cost me $1,000. It's like, "No, everything's good to go.
This is
we'll
your
see you in
year.
3 months. This is your lucky day." You got to have a good time with them. You got to enjoy what you do, and then it just spills over to the customer.
It sounds like you're creating memorable experiences with every person that you come across.
100%.
Yeah.
I want them to remember me for a good experience or a good time. Even if they don't remember my name, they remember, "Hey, I had this one technician that dude was on something. He was fired up when he come in here."
Do you remember seeing him? Handsome, looks like a golden retriever.
Did he have a tennis ball in his mouth?
That's how you need to roll up to the house.
I'm gonna have to put a tennis ball in my van now. Like this is golden.
This is golden.
Yeah.
He's gonna roll up with dog biscuits in his pockets. Like, we don't have any dogs. These are for me.
These are for later.
I do. I just really do appreciate the way that you kind of look at it as an opportunity every time to connect to somebody and to give them this experience. I think that's maybe that I would see how that could be challenging for some technicians,
For
sure. Because it's, you guys do it day after day after day, but to the customer, like I'm a PA customer, somebody only comes to my house twice a year.
Yep.
So I only get that experience twice. Whereas you guys have it every single day. So I can see how, you really would have to have the mindset or the outlook of every call is a new opportunity for me to make a connection.
The biggest thing is these are mechanical systems, and so we do see the same thing over and over and over, and it's easy to detach from the emotion side of it and say it's just a capacitor or it's just a fan motor, no big deal. But to them it is a big deal because they're fixing to have to drop $1,000 into a part, or they've been without air for 2 days and you finally got there, and then you just downplay it as it's just this or it's just that. No, like put some emotion into it and understand where they are, meet them where they are in that situation. And it just works out for everybody. It works out for the company. It works out for you. It works out for the customer.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. And this is why we like to have tech builders ride with Cole.
Yes.
Yeah, Jeff told me yesterday, he's like, man, I don't want to abuse you. I'm like, bro, you're not using me for 4 weeks. Like, what am I going to do?
I got a break.
Yep.
I don't need a break.
I need some people in here.
Yep. Send them. Let's go.
Do y'all feel like there are some distinct barriers that stand in the way of maintaining a good outlook to life?
Yes.
You had to go this deep, Rob.
I'm just asking.
I think, yes. I think your mindset in general is a distinct barrier between having the right approach or the right outlook on life and not. Yes, I think that if you are not cognizant of your mindset and where you are, then that's a barrier. I think if you are not being reflective, I think that can be a distinct barrier. Am I just like ho-humming it through every single day and not recognizing that I'm doing that? I think that can get you down this pathway to this negative outlook. I could probably come up with some more if I had some.
If you were able to prepare.
More time to think about it.
I'll add to it. I think emotions is the biggest barrier. I've been listening to emotional intelligence and how basically our emotions drive everything. And so that's kind of what comes to my mind first. And that's what I've been working really hard on, is taking emotions out of everything and really focusing on the situation, the facts of the situation. Take emotion completely out of it. Don't feel any type of way about it and just deal with it. So I think emotions can be a really big barrier.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was tough removing emotions from your previous line of work.
Oh, 100%.
Running calls like that. 100%. That'd be tough.
I wanted to grab some people by the throat, slam them on their face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Or look at some parents and really like hit them in the face for not raising their children right.
He goes, then they brought in the chest cam.
Yeah, the body cams. Body cams got to act right. We used to like step back on a call and then you just kind of point to your body cam like, yo, I'm recording, chill out.
Yeah. I met a police officer a while back when they first introduced those at the gas station, and I ended up telling him, like, I really appreciate what you do. And I don't know if you had ever heard anything like that before, but
Most haven't.
I also walked up to him at the gas station thinking the same thing about myself of don't approach somebody at the gas station. I kept a distance so I didn't get chopped in the neck. But I just told him I really appreciated what he was doing. And I'm like, I know it's probably tough. And we talked about just his line of work for a little bit. And he's like, man, it's just all these rules and regulations stuff coming down the pipe. It makes it harder to be a police officer when people don't trust you to do the right thing out there. So he's like, we have these body cams where, it makes things more challenging. And you would think that it would make things easier. And I know there's always ideas of how it protects the officer and, makes it where you can really see how things actually are. But there's also limitations that come to that as well.
100%.
It makes things a lot harder on you.
Yep.
But approaching every situation with a positive mindset, and in some of those cases, removing the emotion from it and looking at it like that. Has Mark talked to you about the Daily Stoic? Did he talk to you about that?
No, not yet.
Go ask him about it. It's pretty good. He gets emails and all the time with that kind of stuff. But you talked about removing emotions from situations. It deals a lot with that. But ask him about the emails that he always gets from all that, because he could probably forward all that stuff to you. It definitely is a game changer when it comes to approach to life.
I didn't realize how hard it was until, like I said, I've been listening to the audiobook on it and literally daily trying to remove emotions from every circumstance that could make you angry or could make you happy. And it ain't just negative emotions. It's positive emotions too. Is just removing those in general and just applying it to every situation. That's hard. It's very hard.
Yeah.
Do you think that we should, I'm thinking in plumbing world, like a backflow preventer, like I don't know, this is my technical brain, but like you block out the negative. You're like, I'm not even going to accept that, but I'm going to allow the positive to enter in.
Yep.
Or is it I approach all situations from a neutral, I don't care if it's good or bad, I have no emotion towards it. Which one do you think it should be?
I think it should be the no emotion, because just learning and listening to this book is how our emotions drive us. If you have no emotion whatsoever in it, you have a much better outlook on the situation.
Yeah, even positive emotions can cloud your judgment.
Yes.
Like if you're feeling, really happy or there's a lot of joy around, something, I think it can still cloud your judgment. I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head. Like I think about almost like with your kids, maybe, it's like maybe I would allow certain things to happen, because it makes me feel happy or, and when I say allow certain things to happen, I mean like stay up too late or, like I'm thinking of things that I would let happen because my emotion is like, oh, well, she wants to spend more time with me. And so I'm feeling needed and loved. And so, okay, honey.
I don't like this voice you're using.
I'll give you a really good example. I know you're looking for one. When my wife took the kids school shopping for the clothes just a couple of weeks ago, she come home and had this look on her face like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, I spent $600 today. And I'm like, okay. She said, you're not mad? It's like, no, not at all. She said, okay. I said, well, it's not like we can go spend $600 every day, but once a year, the kids need some school clothes back. Like, we could swing that. Like, we can make that happen. And she was like, oh, thank God. And then thinking about what you're talking about, she, in her mind, it's a good experience because the kids are picking out their clothes, they're going back to school. She's happy, like, to be able to do that with them. Not only that, but spending time with them, getting lunch, and all of that. Just that whole day was a happy experience. And then when she got home, she realized how much she had spent and was like, oh my gosh. But then my reaction really just made that okay. It's like, okay, and it is what it is.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed your day.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all had a good time.
It's all good.
Yep. Yeah, it is.
Where's that new gun at?
Yeah, I think
Redemption.
I think I do think positive emotions can cloud your judgment,
for
just
sure.
like negative ones can as well.
Yeah.
But I do think it's incredibly hard to approach everything from a neutral standpoint because we are emotional beings first and foremost.
Yeah.
Yep.
Emotions, they could be a little tricky, but practicing stoicism or practicing just being more emotionless towards things, you would think that it's like, are you dead inside? Like, why don't you feel anything? But you had to.
It's control. I mean, it's not like no emotion. It's just controlled emotions.
Yeah. It's like you said earlier, it's choice. I'm choosing not to react to this. I think I told, it was either Jack or Charlie, they were upset about something. Actually, I think it was Jack. And he's upset about something somebody said to him. And I'm like, Jack, if somebody says something to you and it upsets you, it's okay if they say something. I'm like, it doesn't necessarily matter. But I said, if you recognize that they're able to control your emotions like that, they will always have control over you if you allow them to have control over your emotions. So I'm like, if somebody says something, I'm like, what did they say? And it was something dumb. I'm like, is that even true about you? No. I'm like, then what are you upset about? Like, what does it actually matter? Right. And so having to help him work through and think through those different things can be challenging, but it's good lessons. But it's just like anything else. They got to hear it quite a few times before they
practice. Yep.
So I feel like the lack of emotion can be challenging, but the choices that you make with that it'd be worthwhile.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, Cole. Well, just know that we appreciate and see your outlook and approach to life.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
The golden retriever.
That's right. And I do believe that it's important for people to kind of consider that question. What is your approach to life? Like, have people even thought about that before? Okay, this is how we end our co-hosted podcasts with some rapid fire questions. They never end up being rapid, but we try really hard. So what will happen is we'll go back and forth. We'll ask you a question and you'll just answer it.
So I'm like on the stand right now?
Yeah, pretty much.
Rapid fire.
Okay, the first one, fill in the blank. Morris-Jenkins is...
An amazing company.
I love it.
That's so sweet.
I know.
That's so sweet. All right, your next question. What is something that people often get wrong about you?
Oh, hold on. A lot of people take me serious, like a lot of the times, honestly, and very rarely am I serious, like whether it be with a comment or a text or a chat with dispatch. And so a lot of times I have to tell people, like, hey, don't ever take me serious. Like, you'll know when I'm serious, but don't ever take me serious. Like, I'm doing this in fun and joking.
So you get taken too seriously.
Sometimes, and I don't understand why it is.
You have the serious face. If you're not smiling, which is not very often, but
I can see how your face could come across as serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
roll up with
Fix my face.
state trooper hat on.
Yeah.
Got the Smokey Bear going.
All right, next one. What's the last show you binge watched and loved?
Oh, gosh. I'm going to say Outer Banks. Because I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but that was like one of the last shows I was really hooked on. And then it went away, and I don't have time to wait on you to come out with a new season.
I know,
I'm done with you.
It's like sometimes a year.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
too
done. I ain't
long.
waiting
I don't
that
think
long.
I've watched that.
I would have completely forgotten what the whole thing was about anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, give us a concert you'll never forget.
Luke Bryan, 2011 or 12. Either way, PNC. I tried to be cheap. Didn't buy the tickets under the awning. Me and my wife went, and it rained the entire time, so much so that my rain jacket was wet, like sopping wet. And I'll never forget it because I'm telling you right now, I don't care if I pay $1,000 for the tickets. If it starts raining, Cole's leaving. I'm not being that wet ever again. Like, my shoes had standing water in them.
Nice. Sounds
like-
like a good experience.
No, not at all. Not at all. Even my wife will tell you, like, we will never do that again. Ever.
We are not sitting on the
See,
lawn.
there's
Ever.
positive in that. I know what my limits are.
Yeah.
Yes. I learned that,
Yeah.
like, hey, listen, if we're at a concert and it starts raining, we're gone. We're gone.
We
Cole's
are-
gone.
Yep. He out. All right. Next one. What's your favorite meal?
Well, as I get a little bit older, it's changed some, but it's hard to beat a good homemade chicken Alfredo.
Oh, yes, sir. Right there.
Gosh, it's just something about that sauce with the grilled chicken. Oh,
You try shrimp sometimes? You like?
yeah, we throw a little shrimp, a little
yeah.
broccoli sometimes.
Oh, yeah. The broccoli's yummy.
Oh, yeah.
You mean you can't beat cream and cheese? Hello.
God.
All right, it's my turn. Give us a snapshot of an ordinary moment in your life that brought you great joy.
I'm gonna go back to kind of like what you were talking about, is opening that door and the kids running. Like, when I think of great joy, that is like the ultimate one, is you coming home, and whether it be like your arms are full and you got to just either drop everything, or you run in there and you set it down on the counter and then they just kind of take over. But as young kids, just that run, and they ain't even tall enough to reach your waist, like they're grabbing your legs, right? That is the ultimate joy for me. Or my wife has a photo of my oldest daughter, like, on my shoulder in uniform as I'm walking out the door. Like, she would always run over, grab my leg, I'd pick her up, she would hug me before I would go start my shift. And so both of those, like I said, just the kids coming up, hugging you, whether it be before work or either when you come home from work, just that is the ultimate joy.
It's good
Yeah.
jazz right there.
It is. And kudos to you. This goes back to last week's episode, but for recognizing those moments.
Yeah.
I think sometimes those everyday moments like that, those ordinary moments, they tend to just become part of the day to day.
Yeah.
And we stop appreciating them for how much they mean.
For sure.
So keep hugging them girls.
Keep hugging.
Even when she's 14 and she don't want to get no hugs no more, you still give them.
Oh, we're there.
Yep.
We're there.
You keep giving those hugs.
So close.
Coming,
Both of
Charlie.
you. Both of
I
you.
love you.
All right, last one. What is one thing you are deeply grateful for right now?
I'm gonna say my wife. Like, y'all, I have put her through it. From law enforcement to, like, our second child, I was not there a lot of times because, first one, I was not there a lot of times because I was at the academy. Spent a lot of time there. Like I said, 12 weeks at the Criminal Justice Academy. She pretty much was a single mom raising her, and then second one rolls around and I'm working 80, sometimes 100 hours every 2 weeks. And she just did her thing, and she's continuing to do her thing, like with our softball. Even with her work, she's like, hey, if you can't get off on time, I'm sending this one home with that one, and I'm letting that one ride with that one, and I'm doing this. And, like, she is just got it.
Own it.
Got it. She's on it. And I told her the other night, Sunday. We had to go two directions with the kids. She went one way, I went the other. I had quite a few more stops than she did. But I was like, I don't know how you do this. I'm mentally exhausted thinking about I got to be here at this time, and I got to take that one to there, and I got to go there and there and there. And I'm like, girl, you own it.
Shout out to the ladies in our lives.
Yes. Like, I ain't afraid to say that one.
Well, she'll appreciate that.
Yeah.
Make sure you share the podcast with her.
Please, listen.
All right. So you said we typically ask for top 5 songs. You said you had 5 artists or somewhere thereabouts that stand out to you. That's like, this is my jam. What do we got?
So, older me, listened to a lot of, like, Alan Jackson, the older country. And then as I started getting into my teenage years, it started out with some like Lil Wayne and Birdman and, like, the whole rap side of things.
We're going down the spectrum here.
I really did. I fell off. Like, country was my thing growing up, and then, like I said, I started getting into some rap. And then as I got a little bit older, went back country. I really enjoy listening to, like, Luke Combs. He writes a lot of good songs with his kids or memories or stuff like that. And then a good bit of Morgan Wallen here lately.
Morgan's been all over the place.
Yeah.
What were you listening to when you ran up on a call? Got the dog. You're about to go snap somebody up. What are you listening to?
You're gonna laugh at this, but a lot of times it was like Lil Boosie or Gucci Mane, or like it was. I had people that would get in my patrol car and be like, "You're listening to this?"
Oh yeah.
I'm like, "Listen, just because I'm the police, I like good music too." I mean, I'm riding around listening to F the Police in a patrol car. Like
he's got the windows down.
Yeah, like people couldn't believe it, but I mean, at the end of the day, I explained to them like I'm human. I like good music too. Like that's just the way it was.
That's awesome. F the police. I am the police.
Yeah, in the police car. But I really enjoyed a lot of Lil Boosie just because it's like amped up hype music, and then you jump out to serve a warrant and you're wide open at that point. Or you're in a car chase and I got in trouble several times for listening to different types of music because when you're in a car chase, your in-car camera's recording, and so it's recording everything forward and backwards. And so, you might be in there bobbing your head or singing or cussing, and you're chasing somebody running 100+ miles an hour, and they're like, you can't do that. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Why not? It worked. I got him.
I mean, I had my steering wheel controls. I never took my hands off the wheel. Like,
kept me focused, man.
All right, so what does this list of artists say about Cole Greene?
I think like the older country says my raising, my upbringing, my parents listening to a lot of older country. Hank Williams, Toby Keith, that kind of stuff. And then as I got into my teenage years and started listening to some rap, it was kind of motivationally driven by that kind of stuff. And then I started getting a little bit older, realizing the words and really listening to the motives behind the songs. And it's like, man, that's a lot of negative. I probably shouldn't be listening to all that. So it's kind of changed over to some newer country that have a little more meaning behind the words, the lyrics and stuff like that. And I've really tried to pay attention to what I'm pouring in.
Yeah.
Because I have found that it affects your mood drastically. Hence why I've started listening to a lot of audiobooks.
Right on.
Started really paying attention to what I'm dumping in.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what it says about me. The old me, the middle me, the new me.
Yeah. It's the evolution.
Yes.
Yeah, the musical evolution.
Yes, that's exactly what
Cole.
it is. Yes.
Well, Cole, we really appreciate you being on with us today, man. I was really excited about this as we came in, and I'm even more excited that we got to spend time with you today. I'm going to walk out like a golden retriever today. You can't stop me. I might go listen to Lil Boosie just for a little bit, and then I'll turn back.
Yeah, get a little hype music.
We appreciate your time, man,
absolutely.
and sharing your thoughts with us about the approach to life. And I know whatever customers get you out there, especially whoever is getting you today, they're getting the best of you, man. We really appreciate you.
Well, thank y'all for having me on, because Meredith passed me in the hallway and was like, hey, I want you on the podcast, da, 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 da. And she was going on somewhere else, and I'm like, she's lying. She's just saying that. And then, like, a couple weeks later, she sends me an email. I'm like, oh, God, she's real. She's for real. She's for real. She's going to have me on.
Oh, yeah. Yep. We're not playing about our guest hosts up in here. We do appreciate you spending some time with us. One thing that's important to us is to get some folks from the field on here, so that, we just want people to start to get to know who they work with, and who's out there. And likely there's other people out there in the field that are looking for something, and maybe they just found that in you. So we do really appreciate you being here with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, so our Q&A question for this episode on Spotify is, what is your approach to life? Have you thought about it? Have you not? Do some reflection. Are you where you want to be with that? And I think that might be it for today. It is. Follow Easy Does It on Apple or Spotify, so you'll always know when new episodes drop. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you in 2 weeks. Peace, love, and Easy Does It.
Appreciate y'all.